On that note, I'd like to say welcome to everyone. And I can see Mr. Ilekon Otufodoro is with us. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for, I don't know, hosting or partnering, but thank you. It's a pleasure to see that you're a part of this because aside from being my senior colleague, Mr. Otufodoro is also a Sojo expert, and he'll be able to fact check me as I say some of the things I'll be saying today. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zainab Sani, and basically, I am a multimedia journalist, but also a fact checker. I have worked across all forms of media, and I'm particularly interested in how we can use media to maximize change. So this afternoon, I'll be speaking to us about how you can identify social imposters and fact-check myths and disinformation. I'm sure that in the past 2 days, listening to Ms. Dr. Rashid and also Zubeida, you've been able to learn how to tell social stories, what is not a social story, and a couple of other things, related issues like that. But this afternoon, I'll be taking a look at social imposters, right? It's not even a case of what is not a social story. It's a case of you feel like you're telling a social story, but are you really telling a social story? Then there is also the part about fact-checking mis and disinformation. I'm not sure why the solutions paper puts those two things together, but when you talk about social imposters and also talk about fact checks, the one thing that probably joins them together is the fact that in both there is an element of something that is not real. You think you are sharing sojo, you are telling sojo story, but your sojo story is not a sojo story, so it's not real. You are sharing mis or disinformation. You're also sharing something that is not that is false, right? So there is that element of false between sojo imposters and mis and disinformation, which then takes me to the crux of the training for today. Why do we fall for false news? Why do we fall for wrong stories? Why do we fall for disinformation, or even go along and tell stories that are not so just stories? And before I get into that, I would like just to be sure that we are all on the same page. If anybody can, please volunteer and tell me what solutions journalism, based on what you have learned in the past 2 days, what comes to mind when somebody says solutions journalism. Bear in mind that I'm not necessarily after a definition. It could be an example. It could be something that it could be an anecdote. It could be something that you can relate personally to. Just what is that one word or the two words that come to mind when somebody says solutions journalism to you? Any volunteers here? Please, we are not quite, there isn't quite a lot of us on this meeting, so I would like it to be as interactive as possible. So if you can, please just go ahead, unmute, and tell me what solutions journalism mean to you, or what comes to your mind when you hear the phrase solutions journalism. Anyone, please? I'll be waiting. I hope we can all hear me. I'm not particularly sure. Can we all hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Oh, great. Ayodele, Olubusola, anyone wants to share with me what comes to mind when they hear the word solutions, or when they hear the phrase solutions journalism? I really, really would appreciate that before we proceed with the training. No volunteers. If you cannot unmute or speak, you can also just go ahead and type it so that we can proceed very fast with this conversation. Please, we are way behind schedule, so I really would like us to proceed fast. I'm hoping that we'd have someone volunteer and share with me what we think. And I'm really hoping we can do that. I mean, we've had 2 days of training already, so it's no longer an unfamiliar concept. Okay, no one is volunteering. I'm hoping still that at the end of the day, we'll have an interactive session with this training, because it wouldn't be nice to just keep on talking for the next 1 hour and not have any responses. But okay, Busola says, just go ahead and type. What comes to your mind when you hear the word or when you hear the phrase solutions journalism? You could go ahead and type, not necessarily unmute and use your speaker. I accept texts. I'll be happy to read what you have to say. Anyone that is willing to do so. But moving on very quickly, while I hope that someone responds to that, moving on very quickly, there is the question of why does wrong information thrive? What exactly is the problem? What exactly are the issues that make wrong information to thrive? They are quite numerous and in number of them, but the ones that come to mind, Mr. Otufodurin, please, could you make the slides in presentation mode so that it's easier to share as against the way it is right now? I'm not sure those on this training can see the slides properly, even though I have it at my hand. It'll be nice to see it in presentation mode so that they can engage. Yeah, thank you, sir. So the problem of why does wrong information thrive, or why does wrong information thrive? There are numerous reasons, but 3 of them that readily comes to mind in the context of our conversation this afternoon is the fact that we have what we call information bias. We all have our biases. We all have the things that we lean towards. We all have what we believe in, what serves as our values. And I tend, the word sentiment covers for all of that. We are sentimental towards certain things, towards certain people, towards certain kinds of data. So on the basis of that, our sentiments to a large extent decide or rules how we filter information. It decides how we respond to and consume this information. And that's why humans will always remain susceptible and vulnerable to fake news or to false information or wrong information. There is also information overload, and that is because there's so much data. Gone are the days when what we can access in terms of information is regulated by the media, right? We have the papers, or the media served as gatekeepers to a large extent. But in this day and age, with the introduction of the internet, the social media, and the development in the web space, what we are saying is there is so much data, there is so much text, there is so much audio, there is so much video. There's just too many information out there, and it's very easy to get lost and find ourselves, lost in a bubble or in an echo chamber where people, where we keep hearing the things that we identify with, or we are just interested, or we're just lost in the information that we have because there is so much to consume around us. Then ignorance, you simply do not know, and for that reason you peddle false information, or you fall for a false information, and you're able to share, you're able to communicate it to other people. So the ignorance, information overload, and information bias are the reasons. I'm on the second slide, sir. Is the reason why we have so many, why wrong information continues to thrive. And then that brings me very quickly, because I want us to get right into the subject of conversation. Sojo impostors is simply the fact that not all solution stories are journalism worthy. That's what we mean when we say sojo impostors. And that's because when you think you are telling stories about solution, it's easy to fall into a kind of situation where you are doing something else as against doing an excellent piece of journalism, because you are talking about something somebody is doing and they're doing it so beautifully and it's amazing, and what they're doing is so nice, and you're just going on and on about it, that you forget that you are supposed to be telling you're supposed to be writing a solutions journalism piece as against writing a glowing tribute for someone. And there are other forms of sojo impostors, but we'll get into that in a bit. But look at this picture. This NGO rocks because they told us so. More often than not in sojo stories, you find people talking about what one NGO is doing or the other NGO is doing. It's easy to become that person that tells that story because you volunteered for that NGO and they told you that they are doing something amazing, or you saw something amazing they are doing, and it became your reason for telling the story. And you now feel like you're telling a solution story when, but it is a solution story, yes, but it is not exactly journalism worthy. And that's why I say that not all solutions stories are journalism worthy. Now we have several kinds of socio impostors, and thankfully the Solutions Journalism Network has been able to help us narrow them down to about 7. And I'll be focusing on those 7 today because, they basically capture the kinds of mistakes we can make when we think we want to tell solution stories and we are not actually telling solutions stories. So hero worship is number 1. Hero worship is what I referred to when I was speaking earlier. And I was saying that you feel like you are talking about something amazing this person has done. Talk about how a person, an individual, an organization, a platform, an initiative is doing something amazing in the society. And you go on and on about it, and you think that they have, you have done a solution stories, but it's not solution stories, because at the end of the day, you'll find out that what you have done is to talk about the amazing things that you believe so much, and how they have done such fantastic things, and how you love their abilities, and how you love the platform and their initiative. And well, that is very fantastic, but it isn't solutions journalism. Hero worship is basically going on and on about a person or an initiative, and just, it's like paying a glowing tribute to them. And it doesn't actually examine the issues, or doesn't have a structure that we can follow and say, yes, you have told a solutions, or you have written a piece of solutions journalism. And that's why I have this example here. 10 legacies of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as Lagos State Governor. Apologies to anybody that works for this platform. It's not meant to say that they are not doing a great piece of work, or that there is fault in what they do. But it serves as an example of what somebody, the headline here serves as an example of what somebody could think they are writing as a solutions journalism piece, when it is actually something else. 10 legacies of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as Lagos State Governor. If you read that story, I can assure you that it would contain a number of solutions that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu introduced to Lagos State as governor. And that is very good, right? But the fact that they contain solutions, or they contain milestones that he achieved as governor of Lagos State, and how he transformed Lagos State, and how Lagos State is now the biggest city in Africa, or the finest city in Nigeria, or the economic capital of Nigeria. And it could contain all of those information, right? Which is development, which is good news, which is worthy, which is something we want to hear, which is nice. But it is still not solutions journalism. All you have done with a piece like this is to talk glowingly, is to put the focus on Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as governor of Lagos State, in his time as governor of Lagos State. That is hero worship. And we could make the same mistakes, be it an initiative, be it a platform, be it an organization. And I see it happen over and over and over and over again. It's not just with individuals, but even in telling the stories of platforms and initiatives and organizations, we tend to focus on how fantastic the organization is doing, how they have empowered 1,000 people in the past 100 years, how they have gone from Lagos to Kaduna to Oyo to Ogun to Osun to change the face of education, without actually examining the issues. How did they start responding to that problem? What led to the response of what problem were they responding to? What are the responses? How are their responses structured? Who are their beneficiaries? What's the impact of their response? What are the challenges? None of this feature in hero worship. So to simply put it, hero worship is not solutions journalism. Yes, it could be about a solution. Yes, it could be about people doing solutions, but it is still not solutions journalism. We also have the silver bullets. Silver bullets, we see it these days. The tech space is taking over. There are new tech inventions every other single day. And people continue to pay tribute to these tech innovations. And we see stories abound about how this tech platform is changing the face of financial transactions, or is changing the face of writing, or is taking artificial intelligence to a new place. And all of these glowing tributes are written about the tech innovation. Yes, it is a solution. Yes, it is a good development. Yes, it is fantastic news, but it is still not solutions journalism. And one example that readily comes to mind is the ChatGPT conversation we have had in recent times. Everybody has been talking about ChatGPT can write your stories for you. ChatGPT can simplify the information that you need. It can do this, it can do that, it can, and just input ChatGPT into Google search box and see the amount of glowing tributes you would see about ChatGPT. Is ChatGPT a solution? Yes. Has it made a significant positive change? Yes. Is it solving a problem? Maybe yes. But the way it has been written, these glowing tributes do not represent solutions journalism. They do not still examine the issues. They do not contain a structure that we can point to and say that this piece of writing is solutions journalism. That's not to say you cannot write a solutions journalism story about ChatGPT, but the way most of the stories that we see are written, they are silver bullets, glowing tributes about tech innovations as against a piece of solutions journalism. I do hope that I am communicating. We now have also favor for a friend. People are constantly telling stories about what their friend's NGO is doing, or what the NGO of someone that they know or they like is doing, or what a platform that they identify with is doing, or that person you volunteer for, what they are doing. And you think that you're telling a solutions journalism story. That you're talking about a solution does not mean it is a solutions journalism story. I think it is important that we understand that. Your longtime classmate wants you to write about how his NGO is helping children to go to school. Fantastic. Write about it, but don't classify it as solutions journalism. And we see it happen a lot of times. You have that NGO or the civil society people that call you and say, come and help me cover this. We're empowering 5,000 women today. We are giving 1,000 children bags. We are taking sanitary pads to school. Come and help us cover this story. And you go there and write about how XYZ organization has given 2,000 sanitary pads to women in Ogun State. And that is very good, but it is not solutions journalism. All you have done is done a favor to help your friend or the platform that you like tell a story about the fantastic work that they are doing, but it is not solutions journalism. Look at this picture on is it on the right? Yes, on the right. Yes, for me, I'm standing on the right. 1,000 children benefits as NGO embarks on back to school outreach. A couple of questions. Is it talking about a solution? Yes. People, is it a positive development? Yes. Are there people benefiting? Of course, yes. But is it a piece of solutions journalism? The simple answer is no, because it's focusing on what they have done and how they're doing it, not exactly on the issues and structures of solutions journalism. I keep mentioning the issues and structures of solutions journalism, and I would come back to that in a bit, but it's important that we understand what can identify or what can pass as solutions journalism, but are actually sojo imposters. And that takes me to my next slide, opinion pieces. Do you have a fantastic idea about how things could get better, and you believe in this, your idea, very strongly? Well, that is also very fantastic, but it is not solutions journalism. Investing in women is a profitable solution to climate change. That's a piece of opinion journalism. And it's talking about the solution. It's talking about gender inequality, about how you can invest in women and climate change and the green society and all that. But apparently, given everything we have said so far, it is not solutions journalism because it doesn't make the cuts. It doesn't fulfill the requirements for what should be solutions journalism. And it's easy to fall and classify these things as solutions journalism because in all sincerity, they are actually talking about solutions. They're talking about things people are doing or things people can do or things people have explored and are trying to do. And you could think that, okay, this is talking about the solution and that should be enough, but it is not enough that it is talking about a solution. It has to meet the basic requirements for what should pass as solutions journalism. And that's why opinion pieces, even when they do talk about solutions, are not solutions journalism pieces. We also have what we call in a minute, yes, the afterthoughts. We do this as I want to believe that a number of us here are journalists who have either written, worked with print, radio, TV, or online platforms. And we know how we would start a feature story or a special report and write about how the problem is this, the problem is that, and go on and on about the problem. Or at the end of the story, maybe the last 2, 3, or 3 paragraphs, we now write about something somebody is doing to solve the problem, or an initiative that is taking place, something they have started doing to solve the problem, or maybe in the middle of the story, an attempt to solve the problem, but how it then come back to how we feel and how we see the problem and go on and on about the problem. That one-liner that you put in your piece about the problem being solved doesn't make it a solutions journalism piece. It is merely an afterthought. Now, this example I used here, International Day of Education, Nigeria battles high number of out-of-school children. It was a story I saw online. And the piece, it was a special report, and it went on about how the children are out of school and the issues contributing to children being out of school, and how they're scattered on the street, and how they can't do this, how, it went on and on about the issues and about the problems of Nigerian out-of-school children. But a part of the story says, relevant stakeholders, including the government, have been urged to make efforts to not only equip Nigerian citizens with digital knowledge, but to also make digital devices affordable. Is it talking about a solution? Yes. But this one-liner, this one paragraph is merely an afterthought. It doesn't make the piece, doesn't make the story, doesn't make the report, it doesn't make the feature a piece of solutions journalism. We also have instant activists. People write reports about organization, and maybe someone that working in the civic space came to you to say that I've been doing this fantastic work. We have done this. We have been to this place. We have reached out to such and so number of people. We have been around Nigeria to do all kinds of outreaches. But we are not getting visibility. We are not getting the response that we need. We really need to how do I go about it? And you say, don't worry, I'm going to help you write a piece. I would write a solutions journalism story about something fantastic you are doing. By the time you're done with that story, maybe you now put it somewhere in the story that please follow this person. You can see them, their work is they are very active on Twitter. They do this, or you can phone them. You can visit their website to phone them and all that. And you put that there. What you're doing is advocating for that organization. And that's what we call instant activists. You're not writing a piece of solutions journalism. In fact, if your main reason for writing that story is to give visibility to the organization, it's activism, it's PR, it's anything else but solutions journalism. And radio can be very guilty in this case. Sir, please, you're still on the former slide. I'm on instant activist. Yes, radio can be very guilty here because when we host, I have worked in radio a lot, and when we host guests from NGOs, we tell them at the end of the day, oh, tell us how we can fund you, or tell us how people can follow you on social media, or how they can call you so that they reach out to you. If what you're doing is to bring focus to the NGO or the platform, or to get funding for them, or to get followership for them, or to activate interest in what they're doing, it is merely activism. It is merely PR. It is not solutions journalism. We also have what we finally would call the crispy bacon. And that is cute people doing kindness and saving the world. And it is always heartwarming. It is always, so nice to read about how people are helping each other, how they are saving the world, how they are doing such nice things. But it is still not a piece of solutions journalism. And an example here, nurse who helped save the life of woman suffering cardiac arrest at Wheel of Car in Bishop, whatever said, it was only a twist of the face. Is it a nice story? Yes. Did she save the life of someone? Yes. Is it a positive story as against all the bad stories we read? Of course it is, but it isn't a piece of solutions journalism. There are several formats that social imposters can take, but these 7 that I have mentioned, and thanks to the Solutions Journalism Network, I was able to narrow them down to these 7. The 7 I have talked about broadly covers what cannot pass as solutions journalism and why we must be careful in writing the stories. I'm sure that somebody here might be wondering at this point that, okay, they say this is not solutions journalism. That one is not solutions journalism. That one is a social imposters. This is a social. What exactly then is solutions journalism? It's not so complicated or complex. As long as your story is able to answer 4 questions: the problem, the response, the evidence or impact, and the challenges. As long as you're able to meet those 4 criteria, you have been able to do a piece of solutions journalism. And what I find out is that the mistake many of us make in trying to write or in writing solutions journalism pieces is that we are focusing on the NGO or on the platform or on even the initiative or on the people doing the initiative, as against the actual response that is being, that is of interest, or the response that is solving the problem. With solutions journalism, right, I can write about a certain non-profit organization in 10 different ways. Say, for instance, they are into mental health awareness or mental health, counseling, generally mental health. I can decide that today, okay, I want to look at this story from the perspective of how this particular response of this organization is addressing the cost of mental health treatments. Do I want to look at how their peer counseling has inspired confidence in people to speak out more about their challenges with mental health, right? On and on like that. By the time you examine the responses of that this organization is putting out there to address several issues of mental health, you will find out that you can tell 10 different stories about the same platform or the same initiative or the same organization, because you're focusing on the response, the particular response that is solving a problem, not what the NGO is doing or what the person is doing or how they have been able to perform miraculously in the past couple of years, right? But if you do the otherwise and focus on just the NGO or the person or the initiative, what you find out is that at the end of the day, you're telling a story and there is no other story left to tell. You've not been able to examine issues and raise issues and help people understand what exactly is a problem that is being solved. With social imposters, you cannot be able to do that. And that's why it's important. Every time you sit down to write that solutions journalism story or piece, you should ask yourself, what problem am I trying to respond to here? What response of this organization has caught my interest? What is the problem that led to that response? What exactly is it tackling within the larger society that I am able to point out and enumerate upon? What is the evidence and impact of the work that they have done? And when we say evidence and impact, it could even be a failed impact or it could be something they have tried that did not work, but maybe recorded some successes, or they were able to find out what could then work on the basis of what did not work. And you're able to point out there is no solutions or there is nothing that anybody is doing within or as a response or as a solution that does not have challenges. It's impossible. Most people will say funding, but it is always beyond funding. If you do a proper social story, you'll be able to highlight and point out that, okay, this particular response, these are the likely issues that could arise based on the response of my interviewees. So, to put it simply, when you're able to answer the 4 questions of what is the problem, what is the response, what's the evidence or impact, and what are the challenges, you have been able to successfully do a solutions journalism story. Anything more, anything less, anything different at all, even if only one of the elements is missing, then it is very likely that what you have written is not a solutions journalism story. It could be anything else, but definitely not a solutions journalism story. I don't know if I should pause here and take questions, or I should just move on to my next presentation. Do I move on to my next presentation or to pause and take questions, Mr. Chinonso?
Yeah, I think we can ask for questions. If there are none, then we'll move on to the next sections. So, please, if anyone has questions, just a few minutes, you can unmute or ask through the chat. Okay, don't think we have questions. So if there are no questions, I think we can just move on to the next section, Zainab. Sorry, am I audible?
Oh, sorry, I mistakenly unmuted. Sorry. I mistakenly muted my mics, rather. I think I've been muted now. Yeah. So I'm reading the response of Olubusola Aro to what solutions journalism is. She says, solutions journalism has to do with result-oriented reports. It is focusing on stories that provide answers to problems or impact the society positively. Fantastic, great attempts. But I do hope that after our training this afternoon, you are able to understand that your focus should be on the response to the problem, not just on the story or what they are doing on how they are doing it. And somebody is saying that you said result-oriented reports. Well, yes, it could be about results, but not all solution story would have achieved the desired results. It's just about what I respond, something that is being done to in response, as a feedback to a certain problem within society. Maybe children are out of school, and this platform has put in place a structure that allows more children to go to school. I don't know if you're getting me. It could be a funding structure. It could be a peer mobilization structure. It could be anything. Not necessarily about the fact that they are making children to go to school, but how are they doing it? What can we learn from it? That is solutions journalism. Not just focusing on the stories, but focusing on the response that makes the stories. Then Ayodele Oluwafemi says, on the fourth element, the challenges, is it about highlighting the challenges of the initiative? No, it is about highlighting the challenges of the response, not the initiative, please. The particular response you're talking about in your story, that is that's where you see, you spot challenges that the response might be facing, either based on what you have been able to perceive during your interaction with beneficiaries, with the initiators, with other stakeholders, or based on what you have been told by your interviewees, that these are the challenges that we have in carrying out this particular solution. I don't know if I'm clear. Maybe I should give an example. A platform is making, okay, a very fantastic example that comes to mind is a story that we published on SolutionsPaper a couple of weeks ago. Farmers in Zimbabwe were dealing with drought. And this platform comes and says that, you know what, we have this mixture, not drought, sorry. They were dealing with invasion from wildlife, particularly elephants. This platform comes and says, we have this solution, when you put together this mixture, it would scare the elephants, or it would repel them from coming to your farm, because the mixture is very strong. They have a strong sense of smell, and this mixture will make it impossible for them to spoil your farm or to damage your crops. And it's working. But what is the problem of this? What is the problem of this response? The fact that it is expensive to put together the mixture, one. Number two, the strong smell, and a couple of other issues related to what it involves in putting together that mixture. I don't know if I'm making sense. Not what the organization that is introducing the mixture is doing or how they are spreading it. No, it's about the mixture. The mixture is the response here. It's the response to chasing the elephants out of people's farms. And your challenges should focus on what exactly are the issues with putting together this mixture and getting it to work for people in their farms. With that, you have been able to do a solutions journalism story. I do hope that I have been able to communicate and answer your question properly. Yeah. So that would be all on solution journalism imposters. Now, moving on very quickly to fact checking, the simple guide to fact checking. It's something that we have heard over and over again in the past, in recent times, right? That is particularly since 2011, and it's an interesting field, because with every single step that fact checkers think they are taking, you find out that people are beginning to advance, new problems are coming up, new issues are here and there. And it's, I don't know, but what I'll be doing today is to just give you a simple approach that you can take to understanding how to fact check, what fact check is needed, how to fact check, and what tools are needed for you to be able to properly fact check in the simplest forms as a journalist, which then takes me to the need to explain a couple of key concepts. And I find it important to explain these key concepts because I've seen, again, no matter how many times you mention it, people still think that mis and disinformation is at the same thing, and they'll just tell you misinformation, or they'll just, define everything together. We have misinformation, which is false information that is spread regardless of the intent to mislead. What does this mean? You might not mean to, you might not want to, you do not even know that it is false, but you share it, and it is false news. It's not accurate information, but you share it. That is you misinforming other people around you, and that is what can classify as misinformation. Disinformation, on the other hand, is when there is a deliberate intent. You know that it is false. You are aware that this information you're about to share can cause harm, but you go ahead and share it regardless because you want to mislead people. You want them to go ahead with you. And we have seen a lot of that in this election campaign season. I can't begin to mention. We have seen ourselves on Twitter. What's happening? It's mostly people with an intent, it's easy to move from propaganda to sharing this information and, making people believe them because you want to push a certain agenda. Disinformation is deliberate. Misinformation is not deliberate. Malinformation, on the other hand, is a little bit of truth, but with a plenty sprinkle of lies. You exaggerate the truth and you put it in a way that's mislead and causes potential harm to anyone that is involved in what you are sharing. And it is important that I make these classifications so that we know that there are different types of, information, wrong information, false information, so that what we call fake news. Deep fakes. I wanted to talk about deep fakes because we'll be talking about fact-checking videos. Deep fakes it's a process where people use artificial intelligence to replace the likeness of a person or their voice. Just basically manipulating a video with available tools online, artificial intelligence to make it appear as something else. I think I saw one a couple of months back about Elon Musk endorsing Peter Ruby, and it was shared. It was the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. People shared it, but it was a manipulated video. That one was even obvious. There are people that would do deep fakes and you would not know that this video has been manipulated, except to sit down properly and take a look at it. Whereas fact check is simply the process of verifying information. And that is about that. Now to my next slide. Okay, what can you verify? I see all kinds of fact checks on all kinds of platforms. And people are fact checks are springing up, even on platforms that are not doing accountability journalism. Everybody's fact checking these days. Even the average Twitter user is also fact checking. Once you see it, we have fact checked this, we have fact checked that, and all kinds of things. But is it actually everything that you can verify? Look at these two statements. Kwankwaso will lose the presidential election. Is that verifiable? Is it fact checkable? I would need responses at this point, please. Kwankwaso will lose the presidential election. I do hope that we all know what Kwankwaso is. He is the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, right? Yeah, so this statement is saying that he will lose the presidential election. Is that fact checkable? You can just indicate the show of your hand, or maybe just type in the comments box. Anyone is fine. I just need, an idea of what we are working with here. Responses, please. If you're not sure, you can also let me know that you're not sure whether you can fact check it. But Kwankwaso will lose the presidential election. Is it something that you can fact check? You see this as an headline. People share it on and share it everywhere. Oh, fantastic. Please, can you unmute and tell me why, or just quickly type and tell me why you think we can fact check it? We also have one person, we have a yes, we have a no. The person that says yes, why? The person that says no, why? I would really like to know your thoughts. Why do you think we can fact check it? Why do you think we cannot fact check it? Okay, Alaska Max says, no, ma'am, it doesn't have to be fact checked. Olubusola, no. Ayodele Oluwafemi, no. Infinix Hot 4, please let us know your real name. Why do you think we can fact check it? And those who think no, we need a representative from the three of you to tell us why you think it cannot be fact checked. Anyone? Any takers? Please, you don't have to unmute. Feel free to just go ahead and type. I would appreciate that. Okay. I'm not sure why all of us are shy this afternoon. Okay, yes. Somebody says yes. It is a misinformation because it is not backed by statistics or facts. Interesting. Okay, that's an interesting perspective. Those who are saying no, can I know why you think we cannot fact check it? Okay, no response. But well, the simple answer to this question is the fact that you cannot fact check this. Kwankwaso will lose the presidential election. It's somebody's opinion. It's somebody's position. We have not even held the elections. The person is merely making a prediction, he's merely making his own position known. And you cannot say yes or no, because even you that want to check what he has said, you don't have the available information. We have not even held the elections. So you cannot fact check what the person might come up with various theories, various statistics, various data, various, imaginary polls that have been held as his reason or a reason for saying that Kwankwaso will lose the election. Even if this is the only statement the person makes, it is somebody's opinion. The person is saying that this is going to happen, that is going to happen, is making a predictive statement. You cannot fact check it. It is somebody's opinion. It is somebody's position on how the election results will turn out. If, however, the person says Kwankwaso lost the presidential election, that is a definitive statement. That is something that you can check. As Kwankwaso lost the election, as a fact checker, you can then say the elections have not even held. So Kwankwaso cannot have lost the election. So that is false. Or maybe after the election, Kwankwaso won. You can then say that is not true because Kwankwaso won the election. Or maybe he lost. That is true because Kwankwaso lost the election. This second one is a definitive statement. The first one is a predictive statement. It is somebody's opinion, somebody's position, not what can happen or what has happened or what could happen. It's somebody's position based on his own set of data, on his own set of values, on his own set of reasoning. You cannot argue with somebody's reasoning. You cannot fact check somebody's reasoning. Today is a beautiful day. It's my opinion. It might not be a beautiful day for you. It might be a bad day for you, right? But if I say it's sunny outside, the weather is -4 degrees. You can quickly check your weather app and see, is it -4 degrees? Or go out and see, is it -4 degrees? That's something that is verifiable because there is data available to fact check it. But once data is not available to fact check it, please, strong data, strong backable data, you cannot fact check it, especially predictive and definitive. They are two different things. It helps you make a fine distinction or draw a fine line between what you can fact check and what you cannot fact check. Now, facts that you can fact check, you cannot fact check opinion. That's to simply put it that way. You can fact check facts, something that has data available. And the media formats that you can fact check are very wide. We have audio, we have text, we have videos, we have pictures. They all can be used to spread mis or disinformation. And that will be taking me to my next slide. I'm going very quickly into how then do you fact check audio? How do you fact check text? How do you fact check video? How do you fact check pictures? Audio is very difficult to fact check, and that's because you're not seeing the person say something. You cannot easily say that it can be manipulated. If any of us here have used a smartphone, even from the days we're using Nokia touchlight phones, there was this feature on the phone that makes it possible for you to change your voice to a woman's voice or to change it to a man's voice. There was already voice manipulation as far back as that. Now imagine in this day and age, the kind of manipulation that can be performed on an audio, and you will be surprised. An expert said that every year we see about $470 million in fraud losses, including from wire transfer and phone scams. It is a massive scale as a result of fake audio. So audio can be used to spread mis or disinformation and even malinformation. Somebody could manipulate your voice and say you did something or you said something, and people will say that's you. How do you prove that it is not you? Right? A starting point for every audio you want to fact check, and I'm sure that a lot of us have already gotten always get audios on WhatsApp from our aunties, from our mothers, from our fathers. They will say, hear what is happening, or listen to this one, or they say something is happening here, or don't go there, or they say Yorubas are killing Hausas, or they say Igbos are killing this one, or that they are fighting in this place. And they spread such audios on WhatsApp everywhere. But the first thing you want to ask yourself anytime you come across an audio is to say that what is being said and who is saying it. It should be the starting point for your fact check. And then you can then go on to now listen. This audio, has it been manipulated? How do you tell? You listen for a while. If any audio is manipulated, there's always that feedback. Just listen very closely. There would be that feedback, no matter how slight. You just need to listen very carefully for it. But thankfully, the only thing that you can use to tell a manipulated audio is not just the whine. There are other things. The timing. If somebody is speaking naturally, it is a lot slower than when the audio has been manipulated. And I'll tell you how they do it. Even when we record in radio stations, when we use the recording studio, the very first thing they do when they want to edit your audio is to begin to remove the spaces between your voice. They remove the spaces. So it eliminates natural pauses. It eliminates your breaths. It eliminates your all the cause, the all those fillers. It eliminates them. You cannot speak naturally if your audio has been manipulated. So you're able to, it increases the speed at which you are speaking. So when you listen to a manipulated audio, you will realize that the speed at which this person is speaking is unrealistic. It hasn't taken any breather. It isn't pausing. So you're able to tell that this audio has been manipulated. Then they are also unvoiced consonants. There are certain consonants. Audio manipulation has advanced to the point that people can create sounds with their system, with their computer, but there are certain sounds that you cannot create. We call them unvoiced consonants, like F, like M, like T, like S. I think S is also a part of unvoiced consonants. So when you listen for unvoiced consonants, you're able to tell, because where there's supposed to be an unvoiced consonant, it will just be like a breather, like hair. They are not able to pronounce the consonants because they cannot create them with their system. Then back to speed, right? What does it sound like? What is the pace of this person speaking? They are saying that it is Zainab Sani that is speaking in this audio. Is this Zainab Sani natural pace? Is this how she talks? Let me compare with other audios of Zainab Sani speaking. Is there a difference? Then other pointers that could help you tell who is speaking here, what are they talking about, when was it recorded, where were they speaking, why. These are pointers that could help you tell if an audio has been manipulated. Like I said, it is hard work because it's not easy to fact check like pictures. But if you are able to calm down and listen carefully, you can easily tell when an audio has been manipulated. And fact checkers are doing it. I'm not sure why the example isn't coming to mind, but I know that ICIR did one recently. I'm not sure about Peter Obi or about the APC presidential candidates. So it is very, very possible to fact check a manipulated audio. You just need to be careful and willing to calm down and do the job and listen very carefully for the pointers that will let you know whether or not the person said that. And always remember, for manipulated audios, it's always an extract of something. So there's always a bigger, a longer video somewhere, or a larger video. Just need to sit down and search and be able to connect the dots and say that what exactly is being said here. Where did this person say it? Where is the original audio that's, from which this was extracted? And then that moves me, I'll now move on to visuals and pictures. Visuals and pictures can either be manipulated or misleading. Manipulated in the sense that they say this picture is a picture of Nigeria, but it's a picture of, it's misleading. When I say misleading, they'll say this picture is a picture of Nigeria, but it's a picture of South Africa. Or this is a picture taken in Congo, but it's a picture taken in Zimbabwe. Manipulated, this picture is actually taken in Nigeria, but certain things have been changed to present it a certain way. A very good example. Okay, I don't know whether it serves as misleading or manipulated, but I would like to hear your responses. There was this video of the vice presidential candidate of the APC that trended recently, that it was sitting with terrorists. I think it's a misleading picture, actually. It was sitting with terrorists, and that video and that picture trended. We saw those men in their kaftans, looking lean, the typical, they had the average northern. The average Northern look, what we classify as Northerners, and the people were saying that those were Boko Haram members, they were terrorists. Shettima was having a meal with them. Did that picture exist? Yes. Was it taken in Nigeria? Yes. Was it Shettima? Yes. But it wasn't a picture of Shettima. Those people in that picture were not terrorists. So that's what we call a misleading picture. A manipulated picture would be maybe an element has been removed and another element has been photoshopped into the picture, or it has been made to look a certain way to make it look like, or some part has been cut out of the photo, out of the picture, and it's not representing the true picture of what that picture is talking about. How do you fact check such pictures, or how do you fact check pictures generally? A lot of tools, but the ones that readily come to mind are what we call the Google reverse image search. Everybody knows this one. Just type images.google.com and upload your pictures, and you are able to quickly fact check what you are able to quickly see a number of links that relates to whether or not the pictures have existed on the internet, when they were first posted and all that. TinHi does the same thing. But an interesting thing about TinHi is the fact that once it brings out the search results, other images on the internet that are like the picture, we're able to compare the one you uploaded and the one that the internet is showing you side by side. It's a good tool to use when you want to check whether a picture has been manipulated. And with TinHi, you're able to do that easily because of the comparison feature. And now, when still on the same page, yes, we also have Invid, we have Yandex, we have what we call Labnol reverse. It's also a Google reverse image search, but I'm not sure why it's not showing clearly here. But with this tool, you are able. It's more a little slightly more advanced than the normal Google reverse image search. You also just upload the pictures. It's labnol.reverse.image, I think, or labnol.reverse.com. You just upload the image on it also, and then it brings you search results with dates and times the pictures were posted. Invid is mostly used for video, but with InVid, you can fact check a picture and it would show you key details, data about the picture. When was it posted? Data about the picture, who first posted it, the kind of camera that was the picture with which the picture was taken, and other data about the picture, the date it was taken, and other, key data like that could be pointers to help you know whether or not the picture, it's a misleading picture or it's a manipulated picture. And that's basically it for tools that you can mention. I do hope that we know how to add extensions to our browser. So you just add the picture, and once you add it, you are able to see, the search results and the feedback, and know when the picture was posted and how it was posted, and a couple of other things. Then moving on to videos. Let's move on. We'll come back to this. Moving on to videos. Yes, videos are harder to fact check. And that's because you cannot just upload them and get a feedback of all the similar videos that have existed, like that video on the internet. It involves a lot more research. So with videos, you have to sit down and check. You have to first break down the videos into keyframes, or get a screenshot of the video. And you can do that with your InVid browser extension or the YouTube data viewer. The difference is that with YouTube data viewer from Amnesty International, you can only fact check videos that exist on YouTube. But with InVid browser, you can do all other social media platforms and check whether they have existed on the internet before. But it's not like you just upload the video. No, you first extract the keyframes. You can also extract keyframes of video with InVid browser extension. And then you then use your reverse image searches, and you're able to see whether if they are similar videos, or the exact video exists on the internet before. It would point you in the direction of that video, right? So that's for YouTube data viewer and InVid browser extension. Another thing that a lot of people do is they just screenshot a part of the video, a very clear part of the video, and then use picture tools to be able to, that's like the reverse image search, the TinEye, the Yandex, and the labnow.reverse.com. Are you able to check whether they have existed on the internet before? If there is, it would either link you to a picture or a keyframe or a thumbnail of the video, or maybe the video itself, so you're able to do that. But there are cases where you would check and the video has not existed, and in your heart, you can tell as a journalist with a eye for details that something is wrong with this video. What then do? You look at the details. They say the answer is always in the details. You look at the details. What are the details telling me? Maybe there's a car in the video. This car, what's the plate number? How does this road look like? The people here, how do they look? What's happening here? You look for all of those things, and you can even geolocate. You can screenshot and try to use Google Earth. I mean, we need a more extensive training to be able to break down all of these things. But with geolocation, you can tell, even when you use the reverse image search tool with a screenshot, sometimes it takes you to the location. It tells you that this video, it tells you Kinikon school, and it gives you details about the picture you have done, you have checked on reverse image search, right? So that is very, very possible. You're able to just look at the details. Once you check the details, it is mostly a pointer that this picture, or about what's happening in the video and whether or not it is true. People could, for instance, say that this video was shot in July, but you look at that video, and in July maybe it should be raining, it's not raining, or you look at the environment and it's not looking like Nigeria. You look at the details, you see that the geography of this place is looking like here, right? So you look at the details and use the details to do further investigation and search, and with that you're able to get more data that can help you tell whether or not it is a manipulated video or the video actually exists. And sometimes it's not even that the video doesn't exist, it's just that it is being manipulated. I remember during COVID-19, I fact-checked this video. It was a video of students running from school, and it was during that time that people were saying that those that are taking the vaccine, it's antichrist. If you are taking the vaccine, you're in trouble. So somebody shared that video to say that people were running away from school because they didn't want to take the COVID-19 vaccine. That even the principal ran away from school and shared the video on Twitter, and it went viral. I picked up the video and I fact-checked it. All I did was to extract the screenshots and used it on Google reverse image search, and it brought out that the fact that the video that was actually being shared was noted. The video that was actually being shared was actually a picture, was a video of a school in Port Harcourt, and it was from maybe 2018 or 2019, if I remember correctly. And it was the students running out of the school because of something else entirely, not because they did not want to take the COVID-19 vaccine, right? So details will always give away a lot. The answer is in the details, particularly for all fact checks, but particularly with videos and audios that are harder to fact check. The answer is always in the details. Now, moving on to text. How do we fact check text? Texts are easier to fact check because you can easily look at what is this person saying. You have misleading headlines, you have wrong quotes, you have republished information, you have wrong context, and you see them all over, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on blogs, on platforms, on even reputable platforms. Sometimes they will use misleading headline and you think that they are saying something else and people share it and it's a wrong information, right? And one person that has really suffered in terms of what he has said and what he did not say is Robert Mugabe. They will tell you Robert Mugabe said that a wise man has to marry 4 wives, or a monkey cannot climb this and cannot climb that. And they attribute all kinds of quotes and messages to Robert Mugabe. He has really suffered in the hands of social media users, based on what they want to share. How then can you fact check this kind of information? It's basic research. But the simple thing that has to be done or needs to be done is to first and foremost take a look at the information before you. This headline is saying 40 people. Someone should give me a sample of an headline that means something. Okay, one that people readily do. They will tell you that maybe somebody is wearing article, and the person was, let's use a random name, not article. Sorry about that. Let me see. Let's use Zainab. Zainab is a popular figure, maybe a popular politician, right? And she's in public faces. And Zainab Sani, there's a Zainab or a Sani somewhere else that was involved in an accident. The headline we read: Sani involved in a ghastly accident. The Sani they are referring to is maybe Sani Binta or Sani Dupe or Sani Margaret or something else. But because they want to get clicks, they want to get, a lot of people to come and view their websites, they now use Sani, because if you ask Zainab Sani involved in an accident, people want to click on the headline and go and read and check to know whether it is true or what happened, and you get to find out what kind of nonsense is this. So a lot of platforms do it. It's in a bid to advance or to share it's in a bid to make their platform, their story sell, to have a lot of views, a lot of clicks, but it can be very, very misleading. And knowing that a lot of people don't even read the headlines, they'll just share it. Sani has been involved in an accident, and before you know it, 1,000 shares on Twitter, and it's everywhere. There is also the problem of wrong quotes, right? People just pick up something somebody said and rephrase it or paraphrase it and say, this is what this person said, when the person did not say that. Republished information, a story from 2018 being republished as a story of 2021, right? That's also very wrong, or wrong context. Maybe somebody is talking about climate change and is talking about a lot of things, but you pick just one line that is said and say, this is what this person says, and begin to share it everywhere. And it's no longer within a context, and then it's misinterpreted, right? So all of this can classify as text-based mis or disinformation. How then do you fact check them? First and foremost, as a journalist, it is your duty to ensure that whenever you see any piece of headline, you read the details. You read the entire story. Don't base your judgment or your response or your decision on just headlines. This is very wrong, for even an average reader, not to talk of a journalist. So it is important that you go beyond the headlines and read the entire story. You also want to check for context to information that is being shared, right? I think it was Mr. Otufoduri that was talking about was it Mr. Otufoduri? No, it wasn't, but it was at the same event. There's this data that is regularly shared about Lagos being one of the worst cities to live in Nigeria or in Africa. And that is an information that has been used over and over, even by journalists themselves. But when you check the source of that information, the platform that's put together that research said that it is not an indicator that can be used, or that it was done within certain context and should not be used as for comparisons, because they did not do that research on the basis of comparison. What did they do? They simply asked experts, or business experts living in different cities, maybe in Lagos, in different countries, asked them, what's your perception about living in this place? How is it to live like in this city? And put together their feedbacks and use it to arrive at their conclusion. And they put that warning in the documents that they produced after concluding that research, to say that this is not a data that you can just use, without explaining the context. But no, what will people do? They just speak, Lagos is the worst city to live in Africa, one of the worst cities, and they will fly with that and publish it everywhere and use it as it has even served as a baseline for stories that people tell, right? But it is wrong information. So it's always important to understand the context within which a quote or a paragraph or an information was shared, to be sure that you are getting the whole picture and the whole story before using the information. Now, if you do find out that a piece of information is wrong, or something that was shared on Twitter is not right, and you want to fact check it, what do? You simply take a look at it, isolate what the claims in that piece of information is, then research more about it, ask experts. When we say experts here, it's not the random journalism experts of, Zainab can talk about fact checks. Let me call her and tell her to tell me what she thinks about this. No, you ask experts who have been able to publish, or who have data, who have information that you can verify, and use it to support what you are writing about, not just experts, our random or general definition of expert. Not anybody who can talk is an expert. Not anybody who has all the information is an expert. It takes a lot to be an expert, and you'll find out that it's a case of finding out what is the sector I'm talking about here. What's the field I'm talking about here? Who are those that are recognized as experts in this field? They are the ones you should be speaking to, not just anybody. Not just because I'm an economic, I do economic predictions, it makes me an expert. No, it doesn't, right? So we also have the fact that you need to check reputable news websites. Let's say that there's an explosion at this place, and everybody is sharing it on Twitter or on Facebook. Before you even begin to fact check the story, impute that headline into Google and check how many other platforms have published it. How many other platforms have taken this story? Can I trust the platform that published this story? Do they have a reputation for being thorough in their reporting? Or do they have a reputation for publishing false information, or for being vindictive, or for propaganda? What's their reputation as a platform, right? And then we have always check the body of the story and supporting information. It would help you go a long way in helping you decide how much of what you are reading is true and how much of it is false. Now, to back to that picture, right? Like 2 slides away, back to that picture, we are about 2 slides behind. Yes, here. This was a picture. The picture itself with that caption was shared by a certain Paul Onovo on Facebook in December 2021. And the caption said, 3 Nigerian men who were caught with cocaine ice in Cambodia have been charged to death sentence. Rest in peace, guys. Continue sharing until it goes to their various parents. And, many people will not bother to fact check this because why? Why do you think many people will not bother to fact check this? Can anybody come up with a reason? Or is this something, if you see this kind of story, what's your first reaction? Again, you can either talk or just type in the chat box, please.
Okay, there's a message on the chat box,
Oh, thank you, Bolaji Badmos. My reaction is that it is true because the photo depicts drug trafficking and the subject being arrested. Olubusola Aro says, what if they are not Nigerians? Interesting perspective. I can identify with what Bolaji Badmos is saying. And a number of Nigerians will see that story and say, hey, yeah, or quickly share it to their children. Don't go and carry drugs, so they are killing people in Cambodia. That kind of thing. Why? Why do you think that would happen? Because our sentiments over time, over a period of time, we have seen so many stories about Nigerians being arrested abroad, for drug trafficking and being sentenced to death, and the government not doing anything about it. And we have had that conversation such that the first instinct when you see stories like that is that, it is true. Hey, yeah, this one's to have gone to and carry drugs, and they should not have carried it though. God, blessed, we give their parents we help their parents to mourn, or give their parents the strength needed to go. And you just advise, see, they are killing people in Cambodia. People should not carry drugs to Cambodia. That's the likely reaction from an average Nigerian because of the information we have consumed over time. But now, Busola Aro is asking a very critical question. What if they are not Nigerians? Well, my platform, News Verify Africa, actually fact-checked this picture. And thankfully, to clear your doubts, they're actually Nigerians. But guess what? They were not sentenced to death penalty. And number two, it shared that
is this just me or I can't seem to hear? Okay, Busola just said same. Zainab, I think you are muted if you have been trying to speak. Hello, Zainab, are you there? Okay, I believe our speaker is having some technical issues. Hopefully she will join us soon enough again. I don't think she's okay. Yeah. While we wait for her, we just like everyone who hasn't followed us on social media, the solutions paper should uh, please go ahead and do so right away. You can find us on Twitter, on Facebook, and LinkedIn, and our handle is at the solutions paper. Now, the solutions paper, for those who are joining for the first time, okay. I'm trying to reconnect with Zainab. Yeah, so the solutions paper is a multimedia outlet leveraging solutions and constructive journalism to not only help journalists incorporate solution journalism into their reporting, but also to engender civic engagement in Africans' development issues. We work with journalists, both journeying and established to propagate the use of solutions journalism. Okay, I believe Zainab will soon join us in a bit. And so if you haven't followed us on social media, please you can go ahead and do so because we'll be hosting a lot more of these trainings and also helping journalists, meet up with media and journalism opportunities across the continent. Okay, I think Zainab will soon join us. Meanwhile, I'll be posting a link on the chat group. Now this link is the link to our WhatsApp African-wide network of journalists. So if you want to join that, where we will keep you abreast of our activities as well as connect you to media opportunities, please join the WhatsApp group. I'll be posting in the chat box. Zainab, are you here?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. I don't know. My connection just went. Then I was logged out. I don't know. It was hard to join. Yes.
Please go ahead.
Really, at this point that I was saying that I would like us, if everyone here, so please do if you are with your phone, you can do this with your phone or with your system. I would give us about in 2 minutes. Yes, I want to see what such results we would get. Try and maybe I have to send the pictures to Ross, right? So that we can then check. I want to see what responses we'll get on Twitter when we try to do a reverse image search with that picture. Right. Okay, while I'm trying to send the pictures to the chat box, we fact-checked this picture, and it wasn't enough that the picture was from way back. There was also the fact that as far as the claim was concerned, those men were not sentenced to death penalty. And how did we know? We knew because even though a lot of South Asian countries is what they call them, yeah, have very strict laws as extreme as death penalty concerning drugs and carrying drugs into their country and trading drugs. Cambodia doesn't have a death penalty. Their their sanction or their law, provides for a very long prison term sentence, not a death penalty. So we're able to reach the conclusion that based on what we said, and that what we're able to find out, it was untrue that those men were being sentenced to death penalty in 2021 for carrying drugs in Cambodia or to Cambodia. So that's how I think this is a significant example, because it doesn't just highlight picture fact checking, but also text fact checking. I don't know if you get. So sometimes you have a combination of both, or a combination of the three, and you're not just fact checking what the picture is about, you're also fact checking what was said about the picture and the texts accompanying the picture, and a number of other things related to the picture, not just the picture itself. So you must ensure that in doing your fact checks, you are very, very thorough and able to reach and able to identify what the claims are. That's the mistake many people make. They just see a video or a picture and say, is this claim true? Is this claim false? And that's the basis on which they fact check. But instead, the first thing you're supposed to look out for once you see any viral piece of information is to say that, what are the claims in this text? What are the claims in this audio? What are the claims in this video? What are the claims in this what's the other thing in audio, in this picture, or with that is accompanying this picture? It is after you have identified what the claims are, then you can then begin to fact check, and it can even help you to see what is, even though it's viral, do I necessarily need to fact check it? You're not fact checking because it's viral. You're fact checking because a piece of information that is false, or that has a potential to be false, has gone viral. So we need to always make that distinction. For some reasons, I can't find the pictures, the picture again. But in our spare time, please feel free to experiment. I wish I could share my screen by myself and then take you through how I use the Google reverse image search. The go-to for most fact checkers is simply to just check Google reverse image search, and then they can go on. So I'm told I have about 5 minutes left, right? Please help me scroll forward so that I can round off this training. Yeah. Okay, spotting disinformation and other tips. There is also the question of, how do I spot what is disinformation or misinformation online? Your first port of call at every point in time is, who is sharing this story, right? Then you now take a closer look. What's the source of the story this person has shared? Is this a recognizable website? Is it credible? Is it reliable? Is the source reliable? If it is an unfamiliar site, you should also find out more information about the website or the author to understand what their agenda might be for sharing the story. And like I mentioned earlier already, always look beyond the headline and read the entire article. Many fake news platforms would always use sensationalism to sell. They wanted to read the headline and just go wow and quickly share, or quickly click and and just spread it across. So they would like to be sensational in the kind of headlines they craft or in the stories they are telling, and they drive mis or disinformation. But if you are able to look at the entire article, it will help you take in the story and know what is wrong and what is not. And there are always pointers, like fake news platforms that will use big capital letters all through, or use plenty exclamation marks, or use a lot of emojis, or use all kinds of characters just to drag attention, to the story. Just the 2 other tips and we are done. Please, next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, yeah, the check rules. Check other sources, check the facts, and check your biases to be sure that your own views and beliefs are not affecting your judgment about the story. Then finally, I'm hoping that they'll make these slides available to you, or the critical parts of the slides. There's a final slide just ahead. There are other tools, there are other platforms. Yes, these platforms can help you see tools or platforms that you find useful in trying to fact check. Then you should always ask yourself, before I fact check this, is this a joke? satirical sites are popular online, and sometimes it's not always clear whether the story is just a joke or parody. So check to be sure that, does this platform or author, do they have a history of writing satires or parody, so that you're not just fact checking the wrong thing or something that is not fact checkable, or sharing something as true when it is false. And on that note, I'll be taking any questions that you do have. This is just like a mini training, or like a crash course in fact checking. It could be more detailed if you do want to learn further or have a particular interest in fact checking. But with this, you should be able to do basic fact checking as a journalist anywhere and anytime. So thank you all for listening, and I'll now be taking just 1 or 2 questions, and then we can round off. Okay, I have a question already. Please, how do I fact check a claim when I have limited material or resources? This is very difficult to answer. This is a bit tricky, but there is always the experts. You always have the experts to ask. And when you say limited material, it would be information dependent. That would be dependent on what you're fact checking. Is it audio? Is it video? Is it picture? Is it text? That is what would then determine the particular approach you would take to go about fact checking with limited material or resources. But remember what I said about at the beginning, not everything is fact checkable. There are things that are just not fact checkable, even if you want to. So always make that clear line between what you can fact check and what you cannot fact check. Is it an opinion? You have no business. Do data not exist to prove that it is true? Then maybe you have no business. And even then, when it is important that you conduct the fact check, but the materials are limited, there is the option of not enough evidence to reach a conclusion in a fact check. So somebody has made a claim, but you don't have enough access to enough materials to check whether it is true or not. Your conclusion can be, or your verdict can be, that there is not enough evidence to prove that this is true or false. So it's situation or case dependent on what you're fact checking and the format of what you're fact checking that will determine your particular approach to dealing with something like that challenge of limited material. I do hope that I have answered your question. Please, I would like to hear people speak up, speak this time, because I've been hearing myself for almost an hour now. Is it about 30 minutes plus? Please, so if you have questions, just unmute and let me hear somebody else's voice this afternoon. Yeah, you're welcome, Ulu Busola. You're welcome. Any further questions? Questions from anybody? Okay, if there are no questions, please do feel free to follow me on Twitter at ZChecks, and you can reach out personally if you would like to engage further, or you want to learn more about fact checking, or you want to have practical experience with fact checking. Then I could help you do that. And I'm sure that SolutionsPapers has everything we'll be able to handle any concerns you might have as it relates to sojo impostors. Bolaji Badmo says, thank you so much. No questions for now. You're welcome. It was nice speaking to you all this afternoon. I would now be handing over back to Chinom. So thank you.
Thank you so very much, Zainab. This has been a very, very interactive class, and I actually learned a load of information on fact checking. However, I've also been talking alongside you, but then it didn't, I don't know, you probably want to hear other people's voice more than mine.
Own voice thoughts. Most of the people here, I don't know them, so it would be nice to hear.
All right. Thank you very much once again. It's a very, very lovely class. I don't know, I think the authentication locked a lot of people out of joining, but I think we also had some following on Facebook where we streamed live as well. So thank you so much for this class. You can, I think you can also drop your social media details on the chat box so that those that want to reach out to you personally can also do that. Yes, thank you all very much for attending this lecture. Like she said, this is just a crash course on fact checking, and we've been doing a series of training on solution journalism beginning this week. So I've posted the link to our WhatsApp group in the group chat for any of the participants who are interested in also pitching us and having the solutions paper publish your story. We can join that WhatsApp group. And yeah, in the future we are also going to be rolling out more advanced trainings on solution journalism and even fact checking. So to also benefit from that, you could also join the WhatsApp group. Okay, I see. Zainab's email is on the chat box. You can contact her anytime for any of your personal problems. Please don't forget to follow us on social media so you can be abreast of what we are doing. Thank you all very much. And personally, we are looking forward to receiving pitches from everyone who has attended this class today and even since Monday. Thank you all very much. Also, thank you to Mr. Lekon for availing us of this platform to use for this training, and also to SMIOC, which we partnered for this training. Thank you all very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.